Hey, I'm Diana, creator of Money Boss Mama. If you are returning, welcome back. And if you are new here, I teach women how to become a money boss from the inside out by shifting their mindsets, paying off debt, and saving money. You can learn more about me on my website, moneybossmama.com. But for now, we are going to be talking about the 5 money mistakes I made in my early 20s that you should avoid. So go ahead and click that subscribe button and let's get into number 1. So the first money mistake I made in my early 20s was financing a car with no money and no knowledge. My auto loan was my first debt I had ever gotten into, and it was the hugest money mistake I have made to date. And not to be dramatic, but I feel like my auto loan really flipped my world upside down because I didn't understand interest rates. I had no credit at the time. I had no down payment. So needless to say, I was finessed into an auto loan with a high interest rate. And the amount of my payments was the amount of one of my paychecks for years. I gave up one of my paychecks to pay for a car. And because my interest rate was so high, my payment was barely making a dent in the principal balance because it was all being eaten alive by interest. So needless to say, just the whole auto loan experience was a hot mess for me. Be sure to educate yourself before ever stepping foot on a car lot because these salesmen, they want to make sales and they can sniff out someone who does not know what the heck they're doing from a mile away. So you want to make sure that before you sign on the dotted line, if you do finance a car, that you understand your term, your interest rate, and you take a look at your payment. And in regards to your interest rate, be sure you know how it's going to affect your payments and how much is actually going to go to your principal balance and how much is going to go to your interest charges. And in regards to your payments, if you cannot make twice the amount of that payment per month, then you probably really cannot afford the car. If possible, buy a cash car so you don't even have to deal with auto loans. New cars depreciate so fast, and paying on a car that is worth less than what you owe is just not worth it. The second money mistake I made was not caring to save money. Saving money was not a high priority of mine in my early 20s, and because of that, I did rack up a lot of credit card debt. So whenever I would get paid, I would of course pay my bills. Then I would pay for all of my wants, aka things I did not need, and then whatever was left over, which was pretty much nothing, I would send to savings. And about 85% of the time, whatever I had thrown in my savings account, I would withdraw back out because I would be short on cash. So basically, I had no savings. To me, saving money is self-care. You are protecting your future self by increasing your financial security, and this gives you the opportunity to build wealth. You have a safety net to fall back on just in case times get hard, and you have peace of mind. The third money mistake I made was using the line, "I deserve it." And oh my god, I used to say this all the time just to justify making a purchase that I knew I really could not afford. And if you use this line often, then you are probably going to wind up putting yourself in a crappy position financially, because most times when we do this, we really cannot afford to make the purchases. I thought because I worked hard that I deserved pretty much everything that I wanted, and no lie, I would be in a store and I would whisper to myself, I work hard so I deserve it, and then I would make the purchase with my credit card. So in reality, what I was saying was that I deserved to be in debt because that's what I was doing. I was racking up debt to pay for these things that I thought that I needed. If you cannot afford something, as in you cannot comfortably make a purchase and be able to take care of your other financial obligations with ease, then you don't deserve it. This line is just an excuse that we use to buy things without guilt, And you have to shift out of that toxic way of thinking by, number one, practicing patience, and number two, believing that you deserve something that is better than just material things. The fourth money mistake that I made was not contributing to my employer's 401k plan. And I will not lie, for the longest time, all of the 401k talk sounded like a foreign language to me. Sometimes it still kind of does, but when you're young, it's easy to dismiss saving for retirement because you feel like you have plenty of time. And I remember whenever I was about to graduate college, I shifted to full-time, and so they handed me a booklet on all the retirement saving plans that my employer was offering, and I could not understand anything. Like, I would have to reread sentences 2-3 times. It still was not sticking, but one thing I did understand was the fact that my paycheck was going to be short. And so immediately I was like, I need all my coins, so I opted out. If you are eligible to participate in your employer's 401k plan and you opt out, then you are literally leaving free money on the table, because a lot of employers offer what's called an employer match, and this is when the employer is going to match a certain percentage of your contributions. The amount differs, but it's typically a 50 to 100% match, as long as you are contributing a certain percentage. So you are getting free money just for saving for retirement. Opting not to save money for retirement in your early 20s also sets you up to have to pay more down the road just to reach your retirement savings goal. So saving earlier means that it's going to take less investments to reach your goal because your contributions have more time to grow. Remember that time is your greatest asset when it comes to saving and investing. And let's be real, no one wants to work a job as an elder because they could not afford to retire. So do yourself a favor and start saving for retirement now. The fifth money mistake that I made was taking out the maximum amount on my student loans. So I don't know one person who was not as excited as a 5-year-old on Christmas whenever school checks were cut. And I remember I would do like a little countdown using the phone on my calendar, and to make sure I got the maximum refund, I would start taking out the maximum amount on my student loans. And it's easy to get distracted by the idea of a refund, but scratching beneath the surface, this was really a dumb move. Not only do you have to pay back the loans, but you are also signing up to pay back extra whenever the interest charges are added in. And if you do not know, student loan interest is a beast, which is why it is so hard to pay them off, because depending on your interest rate, your payment may be getting eaten alive by interest charges, because these lenders are going to make sure that they get their money first. So your payment goes to interest first, and then whatever little scraps are left over actually goes to the original amount that you borrowed. So if your payment is pretty low and your interest is really high, it may take you a while to pay those student loans back. Ideally, you would not take out any student loans, but that is not possible for everyone. So if you do have to take out student loans, just be sure to take out just enough to cover your tuition and, if needed, your books. This way you're not graduating with a load of debt, and it's going to make it a lot easier to pay off your student loans, at least mentally, because you know that you did everything in your power to keep those amounts low. So these were the 5 money mistakes that I made in my early 20s that you should avoid. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, because I do upload new videos every single week. Leave in the comments below what money mistakes you have made, and I will catch you all next week.